mysterious spiritual stories about one of the world's most famous religious sacred sites. This is also the youngest mountain range geologically, capable of reshaping the world in astonishing ways. Few know that, from the disappearance of vegetation in Antarctica to the expansion of vast grasslands in North America, all are influenced by this mountain range. But that is not all. The Himalayas are also becoming a focal point in today's fiercely competitive geopolitical landscape. There is even information suggesting that the nation that gains control of this mountain range could dominate the entire world. The Himalayas, also known as Himalaya, is a mountain range located in southern Asia. This is the location of the highest peak on Earth. That is Mount Everest, with a height of over 8,848 meters above, along with more than 100 other peaks exceeding 7,200 meters in height. Most of this mountain range stretches across 5 countries: China, Bhutan, Nepal, India, Pakistan, and extends through a small area in Afghanistan and Myanmar. Specifically, the northwest borders the Karakoram and Hindu Kush ranges. The north borders the Tibetan Plateau, and the south borders the Indo-Gangetic Plateau. The Himalayan system consists of 3 parts with increasing elevation from south, where the Sewalik range is the lowest part, with heights typically ranging from 1,500 to 2,000 meters, thanks to favorable terrain and climate along with diverse vegetation. This area has a dense population and has been extensively developed for agriculture. One of the prominent landmarks here is Rajajee National Park in India. This place is known for its biodiversity and is home to many animal species, such as Bengal tigers, Indian leopards, and sand. About 25 kilometers away is Dehradun, the capital of Uttarakhand state. Surrounded by lush green hills, this city is not only an ideal destination for those who love exploring nature, but also preserves rich cultural heritage. The Lesser Himalayas lie in the middle, with elevations ranging from 3,700 to 5,000. This range is characterized by higher peaks, colder climate compared to the Sewalik range, creating a suitable environment for dense forests, as well as many wildlife species to live and thrive. The Lesser Himalayas have a sparser population density, mainly consisting of minority communities from countries in the region. Meanwhile, the Greater Himalayas are the northernmost part, with an average elevation of 6,000 meters and above, due to a harsh climate, frequently covered in snow and ice. The Greater Himalayas are not suitable for human habitation. Besides Everest, this is also the location of many of the world's highest mountains, such as the peak Nangkat Puyersal at 7,571 meters above sea level. Located on the border between Bhutan and the Tibetan Plateau, it is known as the highest unclimbed mountain. Since its discovery in 1922, many climbers have attempted to conquer this majestic peak, but so far, no one has succeeded. Part of the reason is that the Bhutanese government has banned climbing expeditions above 6,000 meters to protect the sanctity of the mountain. In addition to high peaks, the Himalayas are also the source of major river systems in the world, such as the Indus, Ganges, Brahmaputra, and Yangtze rivers, the lifelines for nearly half the world. The Himalayas also hold the world's 3rd largest ice accumulation, after Antarctica and the Arctic, containing up to 12,000 cubic kilometers of fresh. A notable example is the Ngozi Glacier, located beneath the world's 6th highest mountain, Cho-Oyu, with a length of 36 kilometers. This is the longest glacier in the Himalayas. Additionally, this region also has hundreds of lakes located at altitudes below 5,000 meters, with their size decreasing as the among them, Pongongsa Lake stretches across the border of India and China, known as the largest lake in the Himalayas with a surface area of up to 700 square kilometers. The formation process of the world's most majestic mountain range. About 300 million years ago, Earth once existed as an ancient supercontinent called Gondwanaland. During the Mesozoic era, from 250 to 65 million years ago, it split into the continents we know today, such as Antarctica, South America, Africa, Madagascar, India. This event marked the division of the world's oceans, notably the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans. Meanwhile, the Southern Ocean is where these seas connect. About 100 million years ago, the landmass broke away from the African continent and moved eastward. At that time, India was just an island floating on the Tethys Ocean. Over the next 85 to 90 million years, India separated from Madagascar and drifted northeast. It moved at an average speed of 18 to 19 centimeters per year before it collided with the Eurasian continent. By about 50 to 60 million years ago, the northward movement speed of the Indian plate slowed significantly, to only about 4 to 6 centimeters per year. This slowdown indicates that the collision process between Asia and India had begun. On Earth, continents and oceanic crust are composed of large, heterogeneous rock plates, known as tectonic plates. The lithosphere consists of 15 to 20 tectonic plates moving and colliding at different speeds. Through the process of convection, the movement and interaction of these plates is called plate tectonics. About 50 million years ago, the Indian plate completely closed the Tethys Ocean. The existence of this ocean is determined through sediments deposited on the seabed and volcanoes along its edges. Because these sediments are light, they were uplifted into mountains instead of sinking to the ocean floor. The collision between the Indian plate and the Eurasian plate along the border between India and Nepal formed a tectonic belt, creating the Tibetan Plateau and the Himalayan mountain range, as the oceanic sediment layers were compressed like soil before being buried. India continues to move horizontally beneath the Tibetan Plateau, causing the plateau to rise. It can be said that the Himalayas are the youngest mountain range in the world in terms of, with its most prominent feature being its continuous activity. Currently, the Indian plate is still moving northward at a speed of about 5 centimeters per year, causing the Eurasian plate to deform, while the Indian plate is compressed at a rate of 4 millimeters per year. This causes the Himalayas to rise by about 5 millimeters per year, and up to 1 centimeter per year. The movement of the Indian plate and the Eurasian plate also causes seismic activity, with earthquakes frequently occurring in the region. The Himalayas have high biodiversity, with various climate types, from tropical or foothills to perpetual snow and ice at the highest peak. Some typical ecological types include grasslands and shrubs found in the west. At altitudes from 3,000 to 5,000 meters above, this area is also home to many animal species such as snow leopards, Himalayan taurs, musk deer, and pikas. In the northeast, subalpine temperate coniferous forests develop at altitudes of 2,500 to 4. They are protected by surrounding mountains from harsh monsoon conditions. The dominant tree species are pine, spruce, and fir. Other typical ecological types include grasslands and shrubs found at median altitudes from 2,000 to 3,000. Here, you will find a wide variety of wildlife, including over 500 bird species that often appear in the cool season before migrating to higher areas to avoid the hot summer. Additionally, this mountain range also has a profound influence on the Asian regional landscape. It is believed to play an important role in the formation of Central Asian deserts, such as the Taklamakan or Gobi. The Himalayas not only affect the surrounding region but also have a profound impact on the rest of the world. To understand this clearly, let's go back in time about 55 million years ago, to the Eocene epoch when most of the world had a warm and humid climate. However, by the Miocene epoch around 23 million years ago, the climate began to cool down. This global cooling may be related to a decrease in atmospheric carbon dioxide concentration, thereby weakening the greenhouse effect. Regarding this cause, some scientists have hypothesized that it might be due to monsoon rains exposing new mountain masses, as rocks were directly subjected to natural factors, such as temperature, humidity, rain, wind, and organisms, which promoted increasingly stronger chemical weapons. Specifically, this process occurs as raindrops formed in the atmosphere dissolve a certain amount of carbon dioxide gas, forming carbonic acid. When these slightly acidic raindrops fall to the Earth's surface, they cause chemical reactions with the surfaces they touch, including rocks in the Himalayas, thereby producing bicarbonate ions that flow into the sea. These ions are then absorbed by shell-forming organisms such as diatoms, which form organic compounds and help reduce CO2 levels in the air. But importantly, the Himalayas were continuously rising at that time, exposing a large amount of new rock. This can push CO2 concentrations to new lows, reducing the greenhouse effect and leading to climate cooling. Currently, the precise details of this process and the extent of cooling we can attribute to the Himalayas are still debated. But if this is the main cause of the cooling, it means that this great mountain range not only changed the climate, but also affected ecosystems worldwide. Take Antarctica as an example. This land was not always covered in ice, as it was unfrozen about 100 million years ago. However, there was a significant climate change at the boundary between the Eocene and Oligocene epochs about 34 million years, with the warm climate becoming significantly colder, gradually causing this region to fall into a permanent frozen state as it is. Meanwhile, in the Pacific, similar cooling helped kelp diversify and spread into kelp forests developing off the coast of Alaska extending to Baja, California. This created a rich environment for feeding organisms such as sea cows living here. But one of the biggest transformations of ecosystems was the disappearance of tropical and subtropical forests in Africa, Europe, and North America. Most of those forests were replaced by new grasslands like the African savannas, North American prairies, and Eurasian steppes. The grasses dominating this ecosystem belong to the C4 plant group. They use photosynthesis more efficiently under low CO2 levels and arid conditions compared to the previous C3 plant group. While colder temperatures and vast grasslands may have helped horses, birds like ostriches, and the now extinct moa grow larger over time. So ultimately, the Himalayas not only shape the geography of Asia but also potentially the evolutionary path across the world. This mountain range is already large, but its influence on life on Earth may be even greater. The mountains shape population distribution and culture in the region. The Himalayas are likened to a great wall separating the Tibetan Plateau in the north and the Indian subcontinent in the south. This also results in an uneven population distribution between these two. While the Tibetan Plateau is home to about 16.5 million people with a population density of only 7 people per square kilometer, the Indian subcontinent has 1.9 billion people and is known as one of the most densely populated areas in the world with 428 people per square kilometer. Speaking of the Tibetan Plateau, the Himalayas and the Tibetan Plateau were formed due to the collision between the Indian Plate and the Eurasian Plate, starting 50 million years ago and continuing to this day. This is the highest and largest plateau in the world relative to sea level, with an area of 2,500,000. Most of this area lies at an altitude of about 4,000 to 5,000 meters above sea. On the highest plateau on the planet, solar radiation is strong, and oxygen content is 35% to 40% lower. The Himalayas casting a shadow over the Tibetan Plateau prevent this region from receiving necessary rainfall formed from the. Therefore, this place receives extremely low-angle rainfall, only 100 to 300 millimeters, mainly falling. From October, the plateau's temperature drops below 0 degrees Celsius, covering the entire area in white snow, and some regions are even covered by permafrost. Not stopping there, many extreme weather phenomena such as droughts, floods, snowstorms, sandstorms, frost, and thunderstorms all. The vegetation in the Qinghai Tibet region is not very abundant, as most of the plateau is covered by tundra moss and lichen, with the remainder, due to the lack of favorable conditions for economic development. Most people in this area are primarily nomadic, living a self-sufficient lifestyle. Additionally, road construction is very difficult, making vast areas here almost inaccessible, while utilities such as electricity and water are also limited. Furthermore, natural disasters such as earthquakes and avalanches frequently occur in the Himalayas, making this area very dangerous for human life. All of this has contributed to the sparse population here, especially in the Nari region located in the northeast of this plateau, which is known as an isolated territory and one of the least populated areas in China, as well as the third least populated in the world. This is an area located south of the Himalayas, comprising 6 countries: Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. It covers an area of 4,440,000 square kilometers, accounting for about 3. For a long time, the towering peaks of the Himalayas have formed a natural barrier protecting the Indian subcontinent to the south from cold winds from Central Asia, and acted as a shield against invasions from the north. Historically, this has limited the movement of armies and contributed to the stability of the region. Today, India alone has a population of over 1.4 billion, but the population distribution among its states is highly uneven, with over 700 million Indians living in less than 1/3 of the northern territory, while 700 million are scattered across more than 2/3 of the southern area. From this, it can be seen that Indians tend to live inland rather than along the coast, unlike many other countries. Because the northern part of their country has a massive mountain arc formed by the Hindu Kush and Himalayas, home to some of the world's highest and most rugged peaks. And of course, they serve as significant land barriers, blocking almost all cold and dry winds from the north. In contrast, the Indian subcontinent south of these two mountain ranges remains warm and humid year-round, allowing vegetation to thrive and the land to be fertile. Moreover, the Himalayas are the source of major rivers such as the Ganges, Indus, and Brahmaputra. These rivers have collectively formed a vast plain of about 700,000 square kilometers known as the Indo-Gangetic Plain. The landscape of India is a place where eastern India, eastern Pakistan, all of Bangladesh. This area is highly suitable for agriculture and livestock farming, which is why most people settle here due to the ease of cultivation. Additionally, it is endowed with abundant natural resources, with water almost always readily available.
Not only does it affect population distribution, but the Himalayas also deeply shape the cultures and religions of the countries in the region.
Accordingly, this mountain range is considered the abode of Lord Shiva, who is regarded as the supreme deity in Hinduism. Some famous temples dedicated to this deity include Amarnath in Kashmir, Kedarnath in Rewrote, and Jagdishwar Dham in Kulai. In Tibetan Buddhism, the Himalayas also hold an important place, with many prominent Buddhist monasteries such as Lama Juru and Hemis in Ladakh, and Rontak in Sikkim.
Furthermore, one of the most sacred and majestic mountains here is Mount Kailash.
With an elevation of 6,638 meters above sea level, it is the highest peak of the Ganges range within the Himalayan system. Kailash is revered as a spiritual sanctuary for all four religions: Buddhism, Hinduism, Jainism, and the indigenous Bon faith. Therefore, climbing to the summit of the mountain has been banned to preserve its pristine state. However, every year, thousands of people still make pilgrimages here to pray for blessings for their families and us. Additionally, Islam and Christianity also hold significant positions in the Himalayas, while the western region, including the Kashmir and Kargil valleys, is where most people follow Islam. The Arunachal Pradesh region adheres to Christianity.
This also contributes to conflicts in remote areas of India.
The struggle for control of the Himalayas. In the context of today's turbulent world, the towering peaks of the Himalayas are perhaps as important as the tropical waters of the South China Sea. The roof of the world is predicted to become one of the pivotal points that will determine the global distribution of power for a nation. In 1904, Alfred Mackinder published a book on the geographical pivot of history. According to him, the central region of the Eurasian continent, where the majestic Himalayas are located, plays a crucial role in controlling the world. The reason is that this area has a strategic location, a dense population, and a budget, allowing it to influence many other regions in Asia and Europe. Mackinder called this the pivot area, meaning the axis of global power distribution. It is surrounded by two geographical belts: the inner ring, comprising neighboring countries that are easily influenced by the central region, and the outer ring, consisting of countries less influenced because they are farther away toward the ocean. However, even with fully developed connections such as railways and seaports, it would still be dominated. Thus, according to Mackinder's theory, whichever nation controls the Himalayas and the central land will have a superior advantage, allowing them to build the strength to achieve global dominance.
Therefore, in the past, Chinese leader Mao Zedong also proposed a foreign policy known as the Five Fingers of Tibet.
In this concept, Tibet is China's right hand, while the remaining five fingers are Ladakh, Nepal, Sikkim, Bhutan, and Arunachal Pradesh, which China. From this, Beijing's ambition to control the entire Himalayan region is clearly evident. However, when Mao Zedong introduced this idea, the mainland's resources were still limited. It was not until the late 20th century, with robust economic growth, that they gained more momentum to pursue their goals. Since the 1990s, China has promoted large-scale infrastructure construction in the Himalayas, particularly in the Tibet region, to consolidate its strategic position and enhance it. Notable projects include modern highway and railway systems, such as the 1,956 km Qinghai-Tibet Railway, or the over 435 km Lhasa Ningxi Railway, located near the border, which expands transportation capabilities to remote Himalayan areas. These routes not only serve the population but also allow the Chinese military to move quickly in case of border conflicts. Not only domestic links, but China's railway projects are also being extended to neighboring countries in the region. Cooperation with the Communist Party of Nepal has paved the way for the Trans-Himalayan Railway currently under construction.
Tibet Autonomous Region with Nepal.
Particularly in the Western Himalayas, the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, CPEC, is a major infrastructure project linking China's western Xinjiang autonomous region to Pakistan's water port on the Arabian Sea through a network of highways and railways. Strategically, these routes pass through Gilgit-Baltistan, a Pakistan-administered area in the disputed Kashmir region of the Himalayas. CPEC not only provides China with a direct route to the Arabian Sea, bypassing strategic choke points in the south, but also strengthens relations with Pakistan, its key ally in South Asia. However, the implementation of this project also creates challenges, particularly tensions with India, which strongly opposes it as it passes through its claimed capital. In reality, the relationship between India and China in the Himalayas has long been unstable, mainly revolving around border disputes, as highlights include the military standoff in 2017 on the Doklam Plateau, or the deadly clash in the Galwan Valley in 2020, along with persistent claims over Arunachal Pradesh and Aksai Chin. It can be seen that Beijing is willing to use force to assert control over disputed territories in the Himalayas. Besides tensions with India, Bhutan is also a notable case. It is one of the few South Asian countries that currently does not have diplomatic relations with China, and relations between the two sides over the years have shown little sign of war. For instance, in late 2023, Beijing brazenly constructed 22 villages and settlements within this country's borders. According to satellite images, these villages and settlements have a total of about 2,200 houses for approximately 7,000 people, meaning that China has encroached on 2% of Bhutan's territory. It is evident that Beijing's moves in the Himalayas clearly contradict the concept of peaceful rise they previously asserted. And if they continue to succeed in expanding their sphere of influence, this country could significantly weaken the position of India, a major rival in the region, thereby shifting the balance of power in their favor. India and the strategy to counter China. Given Beijing's current expansion in the Himalayas, the New Delhi government has also launched large-scale infrastructure projects to consolidate its presence and catch up with China's infrastructure development on the other side of the border. A prime example is the Atoll Tunnel, which was inaugurated in 2020 after 10 years of construction. It passes through Himachal Pradesh in northern India, is over 9 kilometers long, and is located at an altitude of over 3,000. Efforts to enhance India. In the Himalayan region, while also hoping to ensure national defense security at the northern border, thanks to this tunnel, the transportation of goods, food, and weapons will be ensured, despite the harsh winters of this mountainous area. Additionally, India is also accelerating the construction of the strategic 14.15 kilometers Zojila tunnel in Kashmir to reduce travel time to Ladakh, where China is increasingly asserting its territorial claims along the line of actual control. According to the plan, the Zojila Pass tunnel is expected to be operational by 2026. Furthermore, one of the most notable projects currently is the Salad Tunnel route. This project is 489 kilometers long, with its highest point built at an altitude of 5,359 meters above sea level. With this record, it is expected to surpass the Shanghai-Tibet Railway to become the world's highest railway. It can be said that these strategic infrastructure projects not only enhance defensive capabilities but also promote economic development for India, thereby improving the quality of life for residents, attracting tourism, and creating a counterbalance to China's influence. However, in terms of infrastructure scale, New Delhi has not yet been able to surpass its rival. Therefore, they continue to seek ways to develop partnerships with countries within and outside the region to form alliances. Not only cooperating in economy and energy, the Indian military also supplies goods and military equipment to Bhutan's checkpoints in the Himalayas, while supporting the Bhutanese army in enhancing vigilance in the border area with China. With Nepal, India maintains friendly relations despite occasional disagreements, not only providing financial, medical, educational support and aid. New Delhi also implements many transportation and energy infrastructure projects in this neighborhood. Additionally, they also strengthen relations with partners outside the region. Specifically, India actively participates in the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, QUAD, with the United States, Japan, and Australia. Defense and trade relations with ASEAN countries are also promoted, aiming to increase influence in the Indo-Pacific region. India also heavily invests in modern defense technology and collaborates with countries such as Australia, France, and the United States to enhance Rafale fighter jets and Russia. Hoka maintained military strength and defensive capabilities against threats from the northern border. In 2024, amid an increasingly polarized world and growing awareness of the threat from China in the Himalayas, India has expanded its connections with more countries than before.
Coordinated efforts between New Delhi and its partners are expected to somewhat limit China's expansion, thereby maintaining a balance of power in Asia and globally.
Above is information about the Himalayas, a place that could change the world's destiny. Goodbye and see you in the next videos.